Hi, this is Kevin from Park the Boat again. I wanted to revisit this dock that's for sale on Table Rock Lake in Missouri. Um, Mainly because I feel like I kind of overlooked a couple obvious things when I made the last video. So basically, it almost looks like this person who owns this setup, who's trying to sell it, is already renting out the slips. And this is at a private property. I'm almost 100% certain. I haven't contacted the seller yet, which I will do eventually, but I haven't contacted them yet. But it honestly looks like they're renting out the dock slips here to at least three people, or, say this is their boat here and two others they're renting out. Just because usually you don't have, typically you don't have one single homeowner with three different boats. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It's just not. It just kind of looks like they have it set up for multiple people to come in and rent it out, because each corner, each slips has their own, I guess, storage locker set up, and each has like their own lift. It just looks like it's set up for renting out. I don't know that for a fact. It just kind of has that appearance to it. So it kind of looks like they're already doing that, which is just all the more, convenient for you to take and kind of convert over for your needs. Maybe you don't even own a boat. Maybe you don't want the maintenance fees or, hassle of dealing with a boat. Maybe you don't even like boating. I don't know. But if that's your situation, you could rent out all four of them for a pretty decent amount. You just have to deal with, the parking issue and the foot traffic to and from the, dock. So I kind of wanted to point that out because I feel like I didn't really mention that or notice it in the previous video. It's clearly three separate, types of boats, three styles, different styles of boats. Looks like a bass boat, and then this probably looks like this just looks like a cruising boat, and then I can't really see this one very well, but definitely different styles. Just kind of guessing. I don't really know anything about it, but I will contact the seller and try to get some more information. But with the storage lockers all being at each corner, at each slip, it kind of looks like it's set up for, it's a perfect setup for something like that if you were looking to rent it. Another thing I totally failed to mention and or even notice myself reading through this, it says that they can help facilitate with the move. So if they're willing to help with that aspect of it, I don't know how far they'll go, if they'll, get involved with actually physically helping move, or just try to line somebody up to help you move it, professionally. But it seems like they're, in it for the best intentions on both sides, so that's pretty cool. There wasn't anything else that I mean, I guess I overlooked some of these winches, but that's really just connected to the boat lift and stuff like that, so it's not really something that I didn't mention earlier. It's just another aspect of it. Kind of looking for power and maybe water connections for, I can see a hose here and stuff like that. It sucks because, a lot of times you can see it just enough in the pictures, but not quite enough. And then their description is usually pretty limited in terms of all the things, because they're going to just want to talk, face to face or over the phone, get in depth about all the details and stuff like that. But again, looking at all the metal supports and the roof, not really seeing any rust, not any obvious rust. Maybe a little bit right here, but it doesn't look bad at all. So it kind of looks like it's already set up for renting out, which is really interesting to me, because when I first looked through this and made a video, I wasn't really thinking, oh, they already have it set up for that. I was just thinking, wow, this is a good setup for slips, and wow, there's already boats in them and stuff like that. But I wasn't really putting two and two together for some reason. Well, that happens a lot. But um, another thing I didn't really talk about is maybe the depth of water in the particular area that you want to move it to. So that's a huge factor. Not only just for the floating um, engineering or floats underneath here required to keep it held up. Um, you probably don't need more than 3 foot minimum depth there, but when it comes to, are there any tree roots or branches or stumps underneath here, and where you're moving it to, maybe not necessarily this location, but where you're going to be moving it to, is it real, cleared out and everything? Are you going to be able to anchor it down in such a way where it's safe in a major windstorm or anything like that? That's going to be another pretty big factor. It looks like they're using probably like some sort of cabling. I highly doubt that this is a rope, because that could break pretty easily with this much mass and weight here. So what kind of anchoring system would you be able to use to get it to your place and anchor it down? How much does it cost? How much is it going to cost to do the anchoring? Probably be able to move it in 2 pieces, but I mean, it's a massive setup. So your move cost might be like $4,000, but like I said, you could recoup this purchase price plus the move cost plus any other extra costs that you had with setting it up within probably 2 years, I would guess, if you rented out all 4 of the slips for the first year, and then put your own boat in there and rented out the 3 remaining slips for like another 1 to 2 years. Then you could probably recoup all of your cost, if not a little bit extra, and then from there on out you would just be generating positive income. You wouldn't be in the red anymore, so that could be good. But yeah, I don't know, just a little detail that they mentioned. It's not really like they're gonna move it for you or anything, but just a few extra little things that I noticed. I'm currently on the Corps of Engineers website, just kind of looking around on the frequently asked questions page. One of them is, how many boat slips can I own on Table Rock Lake? Number of slips allowed per family is apparently 2, it says, per family unit. Since this is a 4-slip unit, I do not know if this necessarily refers to that. This could be up to 2 maximum separate structures, but I don't know if it technically refers to like just 2 slips allowed under the same roof, or if it just means like 2 separate slips allowed that are just kind of disconnected from each other, and that's the maximum amount. It's really kind of hard to tell without getting any definitions from them on what that is. And then coming over to their other page that has some information about guidelines, when you go to basically boat docks, it just says they're in the process of updating it, and they don't really have this filled out yet, so they're giving you like their phone line to call. So I guess you could check in with them about that. And then there's some other shoreline use permits that have to come into play if you're actually building a dock from scratch. It does not talk about what happens if you go out onto the lake here at Table Rock Lake and you purchase an existing dock that's already set up and everything, and all you got to do is kind of move it to your location. It doesn't really talk about that, but it does talk about getting permits for construction. So I don't know if construction means like building from scratch, like starting from zero and building an entire dock that way, or if it means just even if you just moved it to your location and had to do some assembling of it to put it back together, if that's considered construction and you would still need a permit. I don't know. Again, you'd probably just give them a call, but It looks like they have like, some pretty small fees if you were going to build from scratch, $30 for a dock permit, and then it said it's valid for 5 years. So they're not transferable and they're non-refundable. So I don't know if non-transferable means that, hey, this, dock that we were looking at for 4,000, we went out and bought it. That permit's not transferable to the new location, or if that just means, you're building one from scratch, you're doing the construction on site at your place, and it's not transferable from there to anywhere else. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what it's referring to. But other than that, I haven't really come across any definitive information that would kind of help you, with some more knowledge about how the Corps of Engineers handles some of these things. They do have a pretty okay website that's got a few things that you might be able to find out some more information about, but that is all I was able to gather so far. They do have random different phone numbers and email addresses. You could probably try to connect with them. But they are the managing entity of this lake, and so you would probably want to go through them before trying to look for alternative, sources of information about this lake.